Welcome everybody to today's video. We're going to talk about the pros and the cons to starting and growing your very own virtual tax and bookkeeping business. So let's get started. All right, guys, welcome. If you are new to me, my name is Krista Tyus, and I help tax and accounting professionals get more clients utilizing social media and scale to multiple six figures. So if you are new to me, come on over, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. I come out with weekly content and make sure you turn on your notifications. All right, so I want to talk about the pros and the cons to actually starting and growing your very own virtual tax and bookkeeping business, right? So what are the pros and cons? First, let me give you a little bit of history. I started my tax and bookkeeping business back in 2012. And when I opened my tax and bookkeeping business, I naturally thought I had to get a brick and mortar, right? So I have a little statistic that I want to share with you. It says that remote work has grown 44% over the past 5 years. And over the past 10 years, remote work has grown 91%. Just 10 years ago, guys, almost no companies were working virtually, right? Only about 9% of the companies in the United States were even working virtually. So when I started my business, the name of the game was to open up a brick and mortar location and to put out your tax and bookkeeping shingle sign, right? And so that's what I did. I scouted for a location, I found one, and I locked myself into a lease, a year-long lease, even though my taxes were seasonal. So the problem was, after tax season, I still had this rent due, right? My rent was $600 a month for my first location. My second location, it was $900 per month, right? After tax season, I still had this rent due. I still had to take care of utilities. I still had to take care of, internet, cable, maintenance around my building, right? Mowing the lawn, shoveling the snow. And so that was a huge burden on my finances as I was growing, right? It was a huge burden to even have a brick and mortar location, being a new business owner with this service-based business. And so what I've discovered was working virtually. So year after year, obviously technology has increased. And because of the increased amount of technology, now we're actually able to work from home. We're actually able to work virtually, right? And this year has been a huge testament to that possibility, right? COVID has pretty much forced everyone to figure out how they can capitalize and work and still sell their goods and services online. And so we've been able to do that very successfully, right? With our tax and bookkeeping business, as well as now transitioning into selling services online. So what I want to go through is just some pros and cons, right? Because yes, before, just what the research shows, 10 years ago, nobody was really thinking about working online because one, we didn't have the infrastructure. We didn't have the software functionalities and capabilities that we do today. Okay. And because we do have the software and those functionalities, now it's opened up a huge possibility. So let's first go through the pros on my list. Okay. So the first pro to running or even starting, if you're new, a virtual tax and bookkeeping business is this: greater control over your time, allowing you to work more efficiently, right? A poll that I had read by Gallup as well as Stanford, they said that remote workers are actually way more happier and they're more efficient, right? And their theory is the reason why they're more happier and they're more efficient is because they can map out their time effectively, and that's conducive to them, right? So one research said that remote workers actually take less vacation. And the reason why they take less vacation is because they have greater control over their day-to-day schedules. They don't have the need to take as many vacation days. So not only did they find remote workers more happier, they found more remote workers more efficient, which increased profitability for companies, but they also took less vacation time because they were able to get the little things that they needed and wanted to do throughout the year done because they have flexibility in their schedule. Well, the same is true when you are growing your virtual tax and bookkeeping business. You have greater flexibility over your schedule, right? Number two that I have on here, I said you can work from anywhere in the world, serving bookkeeping and tax clients while sipping a pina colada on the beach, right? And so this is true, guys. We're working virtually. Right now, I'm in my dining room and I'm working, and I have been working all day virtually, right? My clients, they're in their homes, right? Working virtually. The beautiful part about this is I can be anywhere right now, right? Working. I could be on the beach if I wanted to. I could be in another country with good internet if I wanted to. So this is the possibility. You aren't limited to the confines of your city, of your state, of even your country. You can actually travel and still service your tax and bookkeeping and accounting clients. So when I had my live retreat a few weeks ago in San Diego, California, well, after the retreat, after, the lessons, I was able to take my laptop and actually sit by the beach and work, right? And it was such a beautiful experience to just have that view and to just be at peace while I was working. And so that same possibility is open to you guys when you are building a virtual tax and bookkeeping business. You can do taxes from home or from wherever you are. You can service your bookkeeping clients. You do not need to physically see people, right? Be belly to belly with them. And you don't need to physically go to their offices or their businesses in order to do their bookkeeping, okay? Number three, here's a pro for you. You can craft your schedule around your family priorities. So this goes back to those people taking less vacation times. Gallup and Stanford University found that remote workers actually take less vacation. Well, the reason why is because they're able to schedule and craft around their family priorities, right? So if they know that, their son has a baseball game at 2:30, well, now they can craft their schedule around his baseball game at 2:30, right? They know they just block out their calendar. So that's the beautiful part, is that when I want to block out my calendar and I don't want to be in communication with the client, or if I don't want to be on Zoom calls, or if I'm just going to block out just for family, I have the flexibility to do so. So this is a great pro when you are building your virtual business. If you have a brick and mortar, you're open 9 to 5. You have those set hours on your building, right? You can't have open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. and then you gone at 2:30 p.m., right? Somebody's going to walk up and they're going to be like, this is horrible customer service. I know I would if I walked up to a business and they said that they were supposed to be open, but they were in fact closed. So this is the flexibility that you get when you have a brick and mortar and you have those set dedicated hours, which you normally have to do when you have a brick and mortar. You have to give set times that people can patronize your business, right? Now you are stuck. Now you are committed to that schedule. Okay. So having a virtual business allows you to have that greater flexibility. The fourth one that I have here is you don't have to commute. Right now, if you're in places like LA, New York, high populous metro areas, commuting could be a headache. I know Elon Musk he says it takes him on average 2 hours to get to his office. And now he's looking to build a whole city, a roadway under LA, right? Like he's literally trying to build alternate routes that goes under, right? To get to his destination, to actually speed up the actual traffic problem. But you also want to look at just your carbon footprint, right? Companies want to look at their carbon footprint. Each mile that you don't have to drive is, a mile that's not impacting the environment. And so when you don't have to commute, not only are you saving yourself yourself time, because you can think about like what time or what could you have done from the time that you drove from your home to your office location. You probably could have did a tax return. You probably could have did, one of your easier bookkeeping clients, right? And depending on how far you go, you probably can get a lot of work done if you have over a 30-minute commute, right? And don't let it be rush hour. Lord, don't let it be rush hour, right? So you think about all the time that you could potentially save and all the alternatives that you can actually do with that time. It's astonishing, right? You probably could make more money if you didn't have to commute as much, because maybe instead of driving, 1 hour for the day, 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back, you could have put that hour towards your marketing efforts, right? So that's just an example for you. The fifth one that I have here is you get to serve more clients as you aren't having to physically sit in front of each person. You can literally go from being able to do 10 tax returns in a day to 20, right? And this is real talk. When I had my brick and mortar location tax and bookkeeping office, people will come see me one by one, right? I remember being at my desk and I had a client that I was working on, and it was, 5 people in the lobby, some more coming in. I got kids playing over there, somebody over there making coffee, somebody getting some honey buns, right? And I'm doing taxes, trying to have a conversation with this person, right? Like, you only can do so much. You only can do so much as a sole practitioner, right? Even if you have an administrative assistant, you only can do so much being belly to belly with people, having conversations belly to belly with people, right? And so while I absolutely enjoy the connections, right, the human connections of being with my clients face to face and talking to them face to face, it held me up because I actually had to sit there, and then the next person I had to take, and then the next person I had to take. And that was a very hectic way to go about my work schedule, right, to go about my workload. Now, when you transition to virtual, right, on the other side, now people are sending in electronically their tax documents, right, their work papers. They're filling out their online client organizers, right? And now I can block out my day, and I'm actually able to get more done because I don't have a person physically sitting in front of me that I have to entertain with conversation. Right now, I can just power through. I can, pop up a podcast or something, and I can just power through my work, and I can actually get more work done by working in blocks alone, right? And not having somebody face to face or facing me the entire time. So I was able to literally double my effectiveness. I went from being able to do maybe 10, 15 returns in a day to literally being able to do 20, 25 returns in a day, because I've saved that time from, welcoming a guest, signing them in, asking them, do they want some coffee, right? Making them coffee, getting them a honey bun. Right? I used to have all of that. The little Keurig machine was right here. I used to go to the dollar store and I would buy, a big bag or I would buy multiple boxes of like honey buns and granola bars and all sorts of goodies, right? At the dollar store or like Family Dollar or something. And I would get this big bowl and I would just dump all the goodies in there, right? I'd get some toys for the kids to play while we're doing their taxes. It was an event, right? I was trying to create this experience for my clients. And while that is all fine and dandy, I was able to literally double my productivity by transitioning to virtual and working virtual. Okay. The other thing that I have here is shared overhead. So you aren't coming out extra for rent, mortgage, utilities, cable, internet. And this is another one that I kind of touched base on earlier. Like, there's overhead with the brick and mortar office. You have not only your rent or your mortgage, but you have your internet, your cable. You have, like I said, maintenance. Now, when you're working from home, you got to pay your rent, your cable, your internet anyway, right? So it's a shared expense, and you're actually able to save a lot of money. So if you add up all of, let's just say between my rent, between insurance and, maintenance and internet and all the other stuff, utilities. Let's just say I was spending about $1,500 per month. Well, over a year's time, that accounts to over $18,000 that is gone, right? Just so I can be face to face with somebody. $18,000, right? And that's probably on a low end for a lot of you, because some of you guys' market areas, the rents are double that, right? So what could you do with the extra $18,000? Honestly, like, I know, like, travel, I can put that money back into my business, working capital, marketing activities to actually grow, right? I can deploy that $18,000 in effective strategies that I teach in my program, right, on social media. And I can actually double my revenue with that $18,000, right? So you're looking at this, missed opportunity that is going to happen because you are spending more money than what you need to, right? As opposed to you just sharing the resources of your home. Now, I do tell people, and I've had told people in the past that, okay, if you have to get an office, get a co-working space, right? Get a space to where it's a nominal fee every single month. You only have to pay maybe $150 to $200 a month. You can cancel anytime. And if you need to meet somebody face to face, now you have this co-working space that you can meet at. You have a very nice dedicated spot that maybe you can have an in-person conference if you wanted to, right? But I would not invest in real estate, commercial real estate, just for a tax and bookkeeping business if you aren't thinking about growing, an entire accounting firm, right? Tax and accounting firm. All right, so what else do I have on here? I said you can be present while your children are being homeschooled due to COVID, and you are better protected from exposure of COVID. So obviously that's the case. We are still in a pandemic, and it's still safer to social distance, it's still safer to wear masks, it's still safer to probably just be at home. And with that, a lot of people have been working from home because their jobs are trying to make it more safe. But also, when you're able to work from home, you are a little bit more present, right? Obviously with your children, because if your children are homeschooling because of COVID, like mine's are, now we're actually in the home together. We can do lunch together. I can see them throughout the day. I can have those touch points throughout the day. And so again, it's just creating your own schedule. It's really helping you, master your home the way you want and how you see fit, right? And I think that was really nice for me to experience, like them homeschooling, because I would have never homeschooled if it wasn't for COVID, right? Like, so for them to be here, for us to wake up and for our routine to just be a little bit different has been an interesting dynamic, right? And as I'm working, them needing help outside of just balancing the time, it still has been really nice to have them in the house and everybody's kind of like working, doing their thing. And then we can meet for lunch and everybody goes back to work doing their own thing. And then we can meet for dinner. And so it's been really interesting homeschooling the kids. All right. So the last thing that I have on here, I said, you get to work in your pajama bottoms or underwear and a dress shirt and no one would know. Ha ha, just kidding, right? And that's true, right? Because you don't know what I don't have on under here, even though I do have on the dress, but it is fun to be able to wake up. And if you don't feel like getting all suited up and dressed up, that you could have just a relaxed dress because you're home and nobody is seeing the bottom of you, right? So you can literally throw on a shirt and then, you're presentable, right? But it's also fun to just, if you're working late or if if you have a tax deadline, or if you're working on a bookkeeping client, a CFO client, to just be comfortable, right? You're just in your home, you're on your couch, you're doing your work as opposed to being at your office, at your desk, right? So let's go through the cons. So I really only have one con on here, and that is the human touch and human experience. I literally try to think about what is a con to working virtually, and I really couldn't think of anything besides you lose that human experience, right? I mean, everything else as far as, greater productivity, it's cheaper, so you save more money, you make more money because you can help more people. You reduce your carbon footprint, so you're saving the environment. Like the pro list to working virtually is amazing. The con is the human to human touch, right? So obviously it would be more powerful if I was sitting next to you, talking to you with this content, right? If I was telling you personally the pros and cons to starting or growing a virtual business. And while the human touch component is lost, I found a solution for that. So what I would say is, tax and accounting professionals, they now have greater opportunities to create experiences for their clients. So one experience you can do, maybe a holiday party, right? Maybe you can do an in-person training for your clients or in-person meetup for your clients and make it an actual experience that they get to meet you. They get to also learn from you at the same time. And it's a very deep dynamic, right? And so I did that for the first time this year, not too long ago, with my tax and accounting retreat. You can also check out the highlights to that. I'll try to link the video somewhere around here on YouTube that you can check out the highlights. But meeting my people in person, even though it was just a small few of us, was so electrifying, right? Like it was so powerful to be in community with them in person, to talk to them, to collaborate with them, to teach them in person. And the bond that we built was much deeper than what you can get through this virtual world, okay? So yes, you do leave the human element on the table, but I think if we can get creative, we can create human touch points well after tax season or throughout the year. We can create these opportunities to have very unique human touch points that will be memorable for you and your client. All right, guys. So at the end of the day, I absolutely would recommend you starting a virtual business. What I'm going to do is create content for you guys, just showing you how to do that, right? Krista, how do we set up our virtual business? How do we onboard our clients virtually? I'm going to be coming out with all of this good content for you so you can really start to prepare yourselves, right? And two, how do you educate your clients on working virtually? Because I think half the battle is just educating people. This year, COVID has made it easier for you to educate them, right? Now I'm going to give you talking points. I'm going to give you scripts to use to actually help your clients transition from coming to you and seeing you to being virtual, right? So thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them below, and I'll see you guys in the next training video. Bye, guys.